Welcome to Inside Copy and Art, the podcast. I'm Christina Reyes, the VP Creative Director with Copy and Art Advertising, and I'm excited to be here with Elena Rivera-Cheek, our founder and Chief Creative Officer.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks. I'm excited to say that May is the 10-year anniversary of Copy and Art. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the milestones from the company?
Yes. So super excited to celebrate this month. It's been a very interesting 10 years. You've been around for most of them. So thank you for that, right? We wouldn't be here without you. So that said, we wanted to take a look this month at who we are inside of Copy and Art. I think people are ultimately really curious about the agency because our output is kind of really innovative and cool creative. But I think who we are as an agency and our values of kind of creativity and service, people have expressed interest in. So hopefully we can tap into that a little today.
I'm excited. I love going behind the scenes.
Yes.
So let's pull back the curtain and talk a little bit about service. Like, what does service mean to Copy and Art? What does service mean to you?
Right. So I think service might be the name of the game for us. Service starts at Copy and Art internally. It starts with the way that our team serves one another. Mm-hmm. We are highly collaborative, and every function here really works to serve the other. What that entails really means that one function can't survive without the others doing an exceptional job. That all works to benefit the clients ultimately, because this is a client service industry.
That's true. And so, when I think about service, I think really what we do falls under that so strongly, in terms of service to our clients, service to each other. And it really makes us stand out, but I know it's a really important value for us. Are there any other kind of ways you see that the service leads to?
Interestingly, I don't know if it was because my brain was getting ready for today and talking to you. So service was at the forefront, or maybe that's just who we are every day. But I was interviewing someone today, and I interview people a lot, and I had never said this before, but I said to her, I said, I think there are basically two kinds of people in life. There are people who want to serve and people who want to be served. And if you find that you're somebody who wants to serve your colleagues, serve your family, serve clients, serve the community, Copy and Art might be a great fit for you if you're in marketing and advertising. And if you're someone who wants to be served, this might not be the right place for you.
When I think about Copy and Art, I think about us being an ideas company, but us being a yes and company. And to me, that really says the service. Yes, how can I support you? And what else can I do?
Right. But we're always thinking about kind of how our talents can be used to kind of push the needle forward for brands and that trust us and our clients. Service is really important. I think it's something that makes us different and better in that, because we're like a small independent creative agency, we don't kind of have to look to these bigger holding companies for approval or only be numbers based. We're financially super successful, so we're happy about that. But ultimately, we're driven by our desire to serve. Mm-hmm. And so when that's your desire and that's one of your main values, I think you work differently. Like, I think the vibe and energy here is different, maybe because of it.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. And I think there's a feeling of, support, and there's a feeling of wanting to do more that comes across in how we interact with each other and how we interact with our clients.
Right. And I think about it from a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because when we started, let's say, our social media capabilities, of course, we started from a creative development perspective. We always had strategy, because you can't have good, effective creative without a sound strategy. But some of the other kind of capabilities came about from needs that our clients had. So we would hand them this beautiful social media, and we would say, okay, how did it go? And they would say, I have no idea. I forgot to post it. We'd say, what? Oh, we're so busy. And it was kind of born from conversations like that, where we're like, how do we post this for them? How do we invest in the technology to figure out how to better serve? even though we're a creative agency, how do we just kind of give them that more surround sound offering? And then that, of course, led to our deployment kind of investments, and then our analytics and data that came with that, which was really good to further our business, but it wasn't the original intent. It really was about
how can I help?
How can I help?
Right. What more can I do for you?
Right.
And I think you're right. I think in those cases, our clients appreciate that because it's taking something off their plate that they know they can trust in us and put that in our hands. And at the same time, that frees them up to think about or to do other things that, maybe they've been meaning to and haven't had the opportunity to do so.
It's true. And I think, when you listen to a lot of the business leaders in the industry, or even in kind of other industries, they warn business owners, if you're not innovating, you're dying. And so there's this kind of organic innovation that happens when you lead from a position of service. And I think that's why I'm really happy that that's the topic for today, because that might not be what you think we talk about. It isn't like data and analytics or even creative. We do great stuff there, right? Great commercials, radio ads. We do the gamut, digital marketing, and some of the more innovative kind of marketing offerings these days. But a lot of agencies do those. And so might seem soft, but I think service is the name of the game, and I'm happy we're talking about it today.
I am too. When you think about a business, you think about really at the end of the day, you're trying to solve some problem and trying to figure out how you can help your customer base. And, it's been said, don't fall in love with your product, fall in love with your customers. And I really think about how you can always be helping them. So at the end of the day, service is just a key part of any business. And I think those who tap into that really well are the ones who are able to achieve success. Like Copy and Art at 10 years.
I agree. I think that also translates to a really nice work environment. Because when you focus there and you take that service kind of oriented thought process and bring it into your house, in-house. This is our house here, right? This is like our home. And you aren't driven by anything but how to better serve each other and better serve clients. And then that leads to better serving the community, we feel. The environment is different. And that's another thing that as we were building Copy and Art over the past 10 years, we were really hyper-focused on is the vibe, the energy, the feeling. We want people to love working here. We want people to be seen and appreciated. And that's what I think enables them to give us their best work.
Agreed. It's an experience. One we try to make as best as possible for people, but at the end of the day, it's a holistic experience.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the things I didn't 100% love about big agency life was some of the work was really cool and creative and the offices were fancy, but I didn't feel like there was enough of an investment in developing people as an individual and kind of seeing them for their strengths and talents in addition to, I guess, how they serve an agency, but really thinking about how their agency can serve the employees. And so I think we do that well here. I think that's what we hear.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, big agencies are often lacking that heart and soul. And that's really what we try to prioritize over here.
Yes.
Oh, you know what I'd like to talk more about? Service in terms of the community. Can you tell me more about what Copy and Art's doing in that regards? Or what we've been doing recently?
Sure. So that's, I think, the ultimate goal, right? Is like you can have a great work experience, do great work for clients, grow as a company, and then look inward to ask the team and yourself, what is it that matters to you as a human? And how do we support those initiatives? So Copy and Art has long had a philanthropic strategy that involves really kind of getting to know the causes that are important to our people and then supporting those causes in the best way that we see possible. Personally, I've served as a mentor for Her Honor Mentoring, and Sepa Mujer, and other kind of not-for-profits that reach out. And I think there's a Liquid Advance project we're going to be supporting here in White Plains. Wildlife Conservation Society, we've donated our time at homeless shelters.
Walkathons.
A number
of those.
Right. So we might be small, but we're mighty. And I think it's really from the heart that the service to the community comes out. We also, of course, support other charities during the year and sponsor other events. But that could be construed as like branding. So I think, taking it back to the service angle, we try to support causes that are close to our heart. For me personally, I think diversity in advertising is important. If you look around here, it's a pretty diverse agency. Another thing you don't see quite a bit in the industry. And we want to just make sure that young people know about the opportunities that this industry kind of offers.
It's great. And like, it makes me think about this phrase that I heard years ago that I think stands true to what Copy and Art believes in, which is learn, earn, and return, where we really do try to take what we've learned, what's important to us, important to those we love, and then give that back as much as possible to the communities that we live in, that we work in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what's the legacy here? Right? Life is short. The legacy here is whatever we can really impart on not only one another, right, while we're here together, but also to the generations that are kind of behind us, so that they can be moved and understand there's this whole big world out here, which is communications and advertising, digital. Another thing, Christina, that this brings to mind is a little kind of off topic, but in terms of service, is, the way this world is working right now, there's a lot of kind of talk around AI and artificial intelligence, and we talk to clients about that. In fact, this morning we were talking to a client about that. And the way that the world is kind of evolving to this kind of robot world, which scares some people. I think if you're a young person, you should be scared. I think, I'm old enough that I'm not too scared. No, I don't think the robots will take over while I'm still, in my present position. But, for children and my children, right, I tell them all the time to find a career path where you really are connected and engaged and use your noggin, because what a computer will do later will actually be given to a computer later. So when we walk into, like, let's say a fast food joint, and you don't see a person, you see a tablet and you order.
Big screen.
And then it comes out, and there might be a few people back there now, but soon enough, can you imagine that they would be making the hamburger, or somebody else would, or something else would, right? So, like, there's a sense of urgency, I feel like, for young people right now to look into careers where they can use their brain and their creativity and something unique about them. Because I tell my kids the chance of being taken over by a robot is very slim after that.
You got a fighting chance.
You got a fighting chance. I don't think robots are going to be really good at serving people. With heart.
With heart, that's the problem.
Yes.
I think right now there are a lot of robots that kind of do serve us, but I think right now that's the big differentiator. I mean, think about like all the capabilities a phone has or a computer has. It's endless. But when it really comes to having something that's unique and different and being able to provide that personal connection, I think that's the key. And if anything, this past year of COVID, where we've had to be separated often from each other and had to, interact with each other digitally, that's still some form of connection, but it's different than being in person. And so it's that kind of difference, that one-on-one connection, I think that really helps drive forward this idea of like what is really important.
Sure. Yes. And I think your intention matters. And I think the intention that the people who walk into Copy and Art, and this is one of the things I'm so proud of, and as we celebrate this month in May, I'm so proud of is kind of the people we've attracted over the years. And I think they have a service-based attitude and disposition and calling. And one of my favorite parts about that is when we hear from clients that are like, your team just went above and beyond. Like, it was a really hard week, month, quarter, and your team stepped up and really helped us out. And, I think people notice it because it is different in our industry. I
agree for sure. And even we see with clients, with other teams that we work with, like the difference when you've got someone that's engaged, that's happy, that's excited about what they do, that energy is infectious. And suddenly it changes the whole mood. You've got somebody that loves what they do and loves their team and comes in and is like happy to brainstorm and collaborate. You really get so much more potential.
What do you think the best way that we serve clients is, or serve in general here at Copy and Art?
It's a great question. I think the best way that we serve our clients is really seeing them and listening to them, and not just coming in with prepackaged ideas of what we want to do or notions for this is what we've done in the past. It's we ask them, first we make the effort to understand like what are some of their challenges, and then we actually listen to them and ask them what are their challenges. And I think we're not afraid. I think, there's a fearlessness in us presenting ideas to them. It's thinking about what can they be doing, what really makes the most sense for them, and then us getting all in, hands-on with every project. Not just moving it because it's a project, but really considering the client and the project for what's important.
I agree. I think if you were really behind the scenes here, you would be able to see how easy it is to become generic over the years. And it's a force that we've really kind of put our foot down and said, no way. Mm-hmm. There are some similarities around the needs of our clients, but we never go that route. Mm-hmm. We literally consider every engagement for the strategic value and the business situation and objectives. And in some ways, people would say, you're recreating the wheel every time. And it's like, it's a different car. It's a different person. It shouldn't be treated as the same. And service means stopping and really thinking about the full business situation instead of just going out with the same prepackaged ideas or offerings.
And it's about authenticity. I think if you look at Copy and Art over the last 10 years, there may have been some changes in, the way we look or the way we sound, but at the end of the day, who we are as a company, that's remained consistent. As we've grown, as we've brought in new team members, that's been consistent. I think, and that's the same thing that we want to represent to our clients. Be authentic. Find out really who you are, what works for you, and then bring that home. And so I think when we talk to them, we're always looking for that authentic connection that we have with them, that we can have them help build with their customers. Because really that's what's so important to kind of creating this space where you can succeed.
I agree. I think it brings me back to client feedback I received, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago with you. And it was offhand. It wasn't anything formal. But the client said, it's interesting what happens when Christina walks in a room. She goes, everybody perks up and sits up straighter. And I just remember thinking how kind of truthful that was in real world. Like I walk into a lot of rooms with you, so I see kind of the impact your energy has and your expertise has and your kind of desire to serve the client. But it's really nice when somebody else says it and notices it. And I think that's the kind of service, right? Because taking away the soft part of service, people sit up straighter. I think they know we're going to come with some strategic value and insights, and we did our homework, and that's all in service of them. And we'll put in the work and get our hands dirty and do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that just brought back a nice memory.
What a compliment. I
Yes.
love that memory.
But it's true. It's true. So what else on service? What do you think?
So, what are some of the different areas of service that maybe we haven't touched upon?
Let's see.
We've talked about community. We've talked about our clients.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little more about like our internal service. How do we serve each other?
I think one of the highlights of my day just randomly today was I'm back to back. As you know, we're crazy busy right now. And Annette walks in, and that's my executive assistant and right hand. And she says, well, one of our interns stopped in and just wanted to say hi. And she knew I was back to back, and we stopped our meeting, and the intern came in, and he was so nervous and stumbling over.
Aww.
He was so nervous. He was like, I'm so sorry, and he was he was a high school intern in this case. And I said, no, it's a great pleasure to have you. I know he was starting next week. And I had to stop for a second because we've been so crazy busy working till midnight last night and up this early this morning. And I smiled because I went to kind of say goodbye again. And he was sitting with actually one of our team members who was behind the scenes here, Lisa, who's keeping all the audio together and all of the logistical stuff perfect for us. And he was sitting at his desk kind of just talking to him. And I thought, that's service. Mm-hmm. Isn't that service? A young high school kid young man, who emails us and says, hey, can I intern? I love you guys. I read all about you and I follow you on Instagram. And we say yes. And he comes in and he's home.
I appreciate that.
Isn't that service? Mm-hmm. Right? So I think that's one of the other benefits to copy and art being as successful as we've been over the past 10 years is being able to give back. Mm-hmm. That's what lights me up. In addition, of course, when our clients are thrilled, we're thrilled, but it's that other stuff too. It's like, seeing a high school student sitting with one of our designers and smiling and stumbling over his own words, so nervous. Because, you can see him in 5 years here or somewhere else and confident and remembering that the first time he walked into an agency was copy and art.
Yeah.
And how he was treated.
And how excited he was to be here and how everyone welcomed him.
Yes. All right, Christina, how do we round out our podcast on service?
That's a great question. Well, when I think about service, I think about it being service is taking the time, right? Taking the time to figure out someone's needs, taking the time to talk to them and figure something out together. Mm-hmm. So thank you for taking the time today to talk to me about
so much fun.
And arts. This is great.
Yes, so much fun.
Yeah. So, cheers to Copy and Art on our 10-year anniversary.
Yes,
and to
ma'am.
Many, 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 many decades more.
Yes.
And thank you. Thank you for everything you do for our team and for our clients.
It's really, I'm in a position with you here. I think that we're supremely blessed. Mm-hmm. And I think that I don't mind using that term. I know that it's true. We work really, really hard. So nothing is handed.
Nothing's
handed.
luck here.
No. But I still think that the ability for a small independent creative agency to make it in an environment where the big agencies are owning everything is a feat that we should not take lightly. And I think we've been made strong through these 10 years, especially last year. And making it through that, I think, is maybe as equally as impressive as making the other 9 years. But I think that, what the future holds for us is maybe more service, if we're lucky. More serving clients, more serving one another here, and hopefully more serving the community and staying in accordance with our values and what we want.
I look forward to that.
Awesome. Let's do it together?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.